Hi, good morning, Sapphire. Good morning, William. Good morning, everybody who's looking forward to our new story today. Firstly, I'm very happy with you taking care of yourselves and your parents and your siblings. I'm very proud of you with the progress that you have done so far in reading and the fact that you're still listening to these stories. Now, as part of our deal, after we finish reading the story together, I will share with you a little joke from the Giggle Ninja book. I hope you enjoy it, similar to last time. So, what is the story today? As you can see, it says, Don't pick Brian. What do you see in here? This is a baseball team. It looks like a baseball team, at least. That's their coach, and those are the kids on the team. Well, what do you think the story is about? Well, let us read and we'll discover soon together. Don't Pick Brian. Don't Pick Brian by Anne Harth. Don't pick Brian. He's afraid of the ball. Brian heard the whispers. His face felt warm. He shuffled his feet. Janny, Peter pointed. Janny skipped over to stand with Peter's team. Theo, Amy said, you're with us. Theo stood behind Amy. The group of kids waiting grew smaller. Soon, Brian stood alone. Brian, you're on Amy's team, Mr. Rich said. Okay, listen up. We're doing something different today, Brian sighed. What now? Today, we will run relay races. Brian heard some groans. Running? It had to be better than ball games. Line up teams, Mr. Rich said. Amy stood at the front of their line. Everyone wanted to be first. Brian was last. Mr. Rich pointed to the other side of the field. Do you see that orange cone out there? Everyone looked. Everyone nodded. When I blow this whistle, Toot! You can start. The first person runs around the cone and back here. Tag the next person in the line. Then that person will go. The team that finishes first wins. Mr. Rich lifted his weight. Got that? Everyone nodded. Ready? Mr. Rich raised the whistle to his lips. Brian stood on one foot and then the other. Foot! Amy and Peter took off. Go, Amy! Run, Peter! Peter was faster. He raced around the cone and headed back. Amy wasn't far behind. They pounded back to the start. Peter tagged the next person. Amy tagged hers. The next two raced away. Brian felt his heart beat faster. There were only 5 people in front of him. Could he do this? Would he lose it for his team? Brian would run against Janie. She was fast. The kids shouted and yelled. Brian was quiet. There were only 2 people to go. Theo was in front of Brian. He was ready. Theo took off. He raced around the cone and headed back. Peter's team was still ahead. Brian's stomach hurt, but he was ready. Theo pounded toward him. Brian held out his hand. Theo slapped it. Go, he shouted. Brian went. Janie was ahead. Her braids flew behind her. Brian dug his feet into the ground. He ran as fast as he could. He looked up. Janie seemed to be closer. Brian ran harder. He raced around the cone. Janie was so close. He could almost touch her. He ran even faster. Come on, Brian, his team yelled. They cheered. They clapped. You can do it, Brian. Brian pushed harder. He passed Janie and crossed the finish line. Amy's team wins. Mr. Rich lifted his weight. Now, he said, let's mix up the teams. The kids stood together in a group. Theo and Janie are the new captains. Brian stood in the middle of the group. He heard the whispers. Pick Brian. He's the best runner. Brian grinned. You see, it was a good story. First, they didn't want Brian, but then they wanted Brian. What lesson do other students learn because of Brian? Do not judge a person by who they seem to be. Try it, be with them, learn about them yourselves. And people can be surprised with what each person can contribute. We surprise ourselves, so how can we not surprise others? The theme of the passage is don't judge, be open, be diverse, love people for who they are, and accept them for who they really are. How did Brian feel when he heard the whispers? In the beginning, when he didn't want him, he was upset. But later on, when they said he was the best winner, he grinned. He was very happy. I bet he felt proud. Did you enjoy that story? I surely did. To be honest, I loved this story. So instead of the title becoming Don't Pick Brian, it became Pick Brian. He's the best runner. Because we enjoyed the story together, I'm going to share a little joke from the Giggle Ninja book. So, what room can no one enter? I'll give you 3 options. The dark room, the mushroom, Santa's room. You're correct! The mushroom you cannot enter. The dark room you can enter, it's just dark. Santa's room, oh, I'd love to enter that. There are a lot of toys. And a mushroom, you cannot enter that room. You eat it. Good, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it today. I'll be reading more stories for you. By the way, did I tell you that you're on level orange? You're just, you still have 2 more levels to go before you end reading with this level. You are progressing so far, and I'm very proud of what you have achieved so far. Take care of yourselves and talk to you soon.